Welcome back.
Hello.
Welcome back to Relationship, Romance, and Propaganda.
Hey, everyone.
It's
How are you?
Imani, Shakur, and Rachel Burke. I'm a film director. She's an author and actress. And, we know a little bit about relationships. It's the sexiest relationship podcast in the universe. Yeah. We talk about love, sex, relationships, everything from our perspective, a man and a woman. It's real, it's uncut, and we're telling the truth, guys. Don't forget to subscribe on ICT Group Digital. It's very important on YouTube. And I always like to thank all of our listeners on all the streaming platforms, iHeartRadio and iTunes and Google and Spotify and all that good stuff. Just get that real quick. rptalktruth@gmail is the Gmail, is the email. And on Twitter, you can find it. Just look up Relationships, Romance, and Propaganda. You'll see a big photo of Rachel and myself up there on Twitter. So today, we are talking about, it's another beautiful Monday in Southern California in the wine country. And we're talking about the 7-year itch and open marriages.
Yeah. I'm excited.
So let's jump into it, Rach. I think I'm going to start talking about it first because I've been married twice.
Yep.
And
None for me. I'm not that stupid.
It's funny.
Just kidding.
It's funny real quick as she says that, because we're here in wine country, we always see like bachelorette parties and wedding parties.
Yeah, good luck.
And I always say that too. I always say that in my mind, like, I feel bad for him. Mm-hmm. And maybe I'm a cynic, guys, when it comes to marriages, but I'm sorry. I just don't think.
You're still looking for
I just don't
the
that.
third time's a charm.
Nah,
right?
definitely not. Definitely not. Definitely not. So the whole 7-year itch thing, I think I hear this more as it pertains to women, and I've heard the 10-year itch as well. Not men. I think a man can have the 1 week itch after they're married. They're really fucking around.
Yeah.
But women, I've heard the 7-year itch, 10-year itch, and unfortunately, I have been the guy that's been doing the itching. You know what I mean? So,
I think most guys do itching in marriage. I think it's...
Yeah, so I understand it from that
I think it's human nature.
perspective. Yeah, I've met those women who have been married 7 or 10 years, who are super bored, super over it, and just looking for something else, somewhere else. And when I think about this subject, Rach, to be honest with you, I always ask myself, is marriage actually worth it, and should that be even something that is taken seriously? If 7 or 10 years after, a woman is gonna meet a guy like me out, as we talked about on the fetish, I have a fetish of fucking married women.
Right.
So if they meet a guy like me out and it's 7 or 10 years later, I mean, if they're going to just come fuck me, should they have been married in the first place?
Right.
I just don't...
Well, that's why I never wanted to get married. I think young, first of all, like, I don't want to settle. I don't want to get married, just to have kids because everyone else is doing it. It has to be like a cosmic connection for me, where it's really like, okay, this is the person I want to be with forever. I think, but I think a lot of people don't do that. I think a lot of people are like, okay, well, all my friends are getting married and I want to have kids. And with women too, it's like the biological clock of, you have to get married and have kids by the time you're in your, mid to late 30s. So a lot of people, I think, rush into it with the wrong people instead of really waiting for that connection that might not even maybe come till your 40s, I mean,
right, that's true. I always talk about the second half.
Because you don't know who you are in your 20s. I had no fucking idea who I was. I started figuring it out at like 25. Was like, oh my God, I always like to write. I love music. I love creative things. This is what I should be looking for in a partner. Before that, you're just like at the bar. He's cute. You date whoever.
Right.
But you don't really figure it out until you get older, what you want and who you are. So I understand that. I think a lot of people get into it maybe young or maybe with the wrong people. And then later in life, they go looking for something else.
So do you think these women are getting bored after 7 to 10 years or okay, so I guess this is my question. If you connected with someone and everything is perfect, do you think even if it's perfect after 7 to 10 years, they'll still have this itch, quote unquote?
No, I think you're in an area where probably a lot of husbands maybe have money and aren't home a lot, so they're not getting a lot of attention. I think that might be part of it.
Okay.
Or maybe a lot of women are in it for the money with them because they don't want to work and they want someone to take care of them. But you know, and maybe they're not exactly that attracted to them. Because a lot of, you know, women marry for different reasons. Some are in love with them. Some want children, think they're going to be a good father. Some want a good provider who's just going to take care of them, you know, financially. Because my ex's ex-wife left him for this guy who, oh, good God, I'm so sorry to say this, he's hideous. Like, bald, fat, annoying personality, like couldn't be. And my ex was so cute, like great dad. And I was like, why would she leave you for this guy?
Yeah.
And he said money. Because my ex, like, he made money, but he was kind of cheap about it. He was very practical. And this guy will just spend all this money on her. And he's like, that's what, he goes, I hate to say it, that's what she wants. She wants someone who's going to take care of her.
She's going to do all that.
Yeah, but I wouldn't be surprised if she got a set, because she actually cheated on my ex with this guy. So I wouldn't be surprised if she got an itch again and cheated on this guy, because she definitely doesn't want to fuck this guy. I've met him and I was like, oh, good God, I don't even want to be in a room with him. He's obnoxious.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So why is that? So why do women? I don't understand that. Because why do women get themselves in these situations that they can't get out of? And everybody looks at me as the bad guy. And I always say, I'm just providing a service. I'm in the service industry.
Well, they can. So here's a funny story. So when I told you my mom just got married, she married her ex-husband. Mm-hmm. No, her ex-husband.
So who married her ex-husband?
My mom. She just married her ex-husband.
Serious?
That's where I was. That's why I was on the East Coast.
Are you serious? What?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. So they got together when I was like 14, but she got pregnant immediately. They had my brother. Like, he had 2 kids, she had 3 kids. It was like instant family. So they never really got to date. They never got to enjoy each other. It was always all about the kids. And they kind of were miserable, honestly, like my whole life, because it was all about the kids, and they didn't get to really, I don't think, ever date and realize if they liked each other. So I think my mom got the itch, maybe not 7 years in, but close, you know, probably close to that. She went on, oh God, this is terrible. She went on a dating app, Christian Mingle of all of them, like, good for, yay religion. But she was still married, and she met another guy and left her husband for this other guy.
On Christian Mingle. Lord have mercy.
So I'm sure that's what the Lord would want, is you having an affair and meeting other people in Christian Mingle, right? Hallelujah.
Right.
Met another guy. Obviously, that didn't work out.
Okay.
Her husband was pissed. They didn't talk for years unless it had to do with my brother. So I think they dated other people. Grass wasn't greener. But all the kids moved out, went to college.
Yeah.
My little brother went to college. They met back up at his high school graduation. And she was like, you know, I just saw Ken and I still love him. And I was like, no, you don't.
Interesting. You were like, no, you don't.
You're being ridiculous. Because my mom loves the chase. She loves guys who don't love her, right? And I was like, you only like him because
Capricorn?
Yes. Yes. I was like, you only like him because he doesn't want you anymore. She's like, no, I really still do love him. So they moved my brother to California. So my mom, I don't know if all Capricorn women are like this, but my mom is like a manipulator. Like, she'll manipulate men to get what she wants. So she's like, well, I told him I'm coming to California with him and I'm going to stay in his hotel room. And I'm like, I know what you're doing. You want him because you can't have him anymore.
Right.
They rekindled the old flame, and honest to God, it's so different now.
Serious.
Because the kids are out of the house and it's all about them, and I think they actually learned that they really do like each other.
Okay.
So, you know, yeah, they hooked up on this trip. They came back, started like dating again. But, you know, just the 2 of them. There's just the 2 of them in that house now, right? And, well, at first.
Wow.
And,
that's an incredible story. That's like a romantic comedy movie.
Crazy.
Like,
it is. It's complicated. Well, they didn't end up together, but with, what is it, Diane Keaton?
Yeah.
Yeah, and Jack Nicholson.
And Jack Nicholson. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good movie. So, yeah, they started dating again. I did not think it was going to last. And it's great because it used to be I'd go to their house and it was like, oh, you know, he's home, let's go out. And now she's like, okay, come over, we're all drinking, we're barbecuing. It's like the party house now. It's so much fun to hang out with them.
And they recently got married.
The problem is she kept pushing the marriage. And I was like, Mom, don't because Capricorns are also very practical. They want the marriage, they want, you know, they want everything to be practical. So like 3 months in, she's pushing him to get married again. I'm like, Mom, stop it. And she goes, well, if something happens to him, I don't get anything. The house isn't in my name. Because Capricorns are also fine. They're ruled by money. And he's a Capricorn too. And I said, this should not be about money. If you want to marry him, it should be for him and him only, not because you want life insurance if something happens to him.
Right.
She never listens to me, but she kind of actually did for a while. I said, leave it alone. He will propose on his own time if he feels that's right. So she kind of was like throwing the ultimatum out. A year went by. On Christmas Eve this year, I had planned a 60th birthday party for her as a surprise. And her uncle was in the hospital. I was like, please, nothing can happen to him. So Christmas Eve, I hear her screaming and she's crying hysterically. And she runs into the room and I was like, oh, God. I go, did your Uncle Dave die? Because that was what I thought. She was crying so much. And she was like, no. And I said, what? What happened? And she's like, Ken proposed. And we're like, we thought someone died because she was crying so much.
So funny.
Yeah, so they just got remarried, but it's actually great now. So that can happen.
Cool.
That can
happen.
Yeah. So, but I think they needed that break in order to appreciate each other and get back together. So I think people can work it out if you get that itch, but I think it's smart to actually take a break.
And you want to know what's funny? I have a story to tell about that real quick, and I don't know if it's, I guess you would say it's probably the same thing, but Steven Spielberg is like my hero, one of the filmmakers that I look up to or whatever, and I watched his documentary and I was surprised by the story about his mom and dad, which I never knew, how his mom ended up cheating and marrying his dad's best friend.
Oh, yeah.
And then years later, they got back together.
Really?
Yes. And
that'd be tough if it was a best friend, because that's such a betrayal.
And even to save face so mom doesn't look bad, Steven Spielberg's dad blamed himself and never let the kids know that, no, it was mom that went. And yeah, I was shocked by that story.
You know what's funny is my stepfather, I think, kind of did that too, because he never had told my mom he loved her. He never told anyone he loved them, even his kids, because that's not how he was raised. So he didn't know how to show love and how to express that. And so I was like, Mom, how the fuck did you marry a guy that has never once said I love you? Like, to me, that's such a red flag. But he says it now.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's a crazy story, but it does work. But, obviously, because we're going to talk about open marriages, and it's such a taboo subject, but it really does actually work for some people. So I have friends who just, he is like a love, but he's one of those guys that like loves every woman he meets. You know what I mean? He just has a lot of love in him, and I don't think he could ever really be with one woman. I think he proposed to her kind of on a whim because he loved her and they were dating. But once they were married a couple of years, he approached the idea of an open marriage. And at first she was like, "Are you kidding me? You're going to spring this on me now?" And he was like, just think about it, whatever. And then she actually got a crush on a guy that she worked with. And she's a personal trainer. She's a beautiful girl. And she was like, all right, if I can hook up with this guy, then cool.
Interesting.
So they have an agreement. So he has a side girl that he sees, I think, like twice a month or something up there. But the interesting thing is that it turns him on when she is with other men. So he asks her to do this. She videos herself having sex with other men.
I never understand
and
that.
He watches it and it turns him on. And he'll be like, look at this. She's gone up with this guy. He tries to hook her up with his friends. He's a really good looking friend. And he's like, I'm trying to set them up. And I'm like, what?
I don't understand that.
Yeah.
I could never be okay with someone that's sticking a dick in my wife.
Really?
No.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Well, and then other people, and I was telling you about this, there's a famous podcaster, his name is Aubrey Marcus, he's an author, he's a big public figure, and he was engaged to this girl, Whitney Miller. They were together 7 years, and they talk about this all the time, is because they had an open marriage. And so for him, it was the opposite, where he said when she first hooked up with somebody else, he was like dry heaving all day. He was sick over it. But he said, I know that is the only way I'm going to be happy and that I can be monogamous is if I'm with other people. So they, and there's I think it's all about honesty, right? Because a lot of people cheat. And cheating is such a betrayal because you lie about it.
You lie about it. Yeah, it's only cheating if you don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you actually have an open relationship,
cheating is in the act, right?
It's better to be cheated, to not be cheated on, then to have an agreement with your partner, like, okay, this is the person I'm going to be with. This is what we're going to do. We're going to, set boundaries. We're going to use protection. We're only going to see each other once a month. It's a big thing. But the crazy thing is, so Aubrey Marcus just broke up with his fiance, and they did this huge video about it. And I was like, oh, here we go, because people rip them in the comments for having an open relationship. Like they were doing like a relationship therapy thing for a while, and I was like, why do these people follow them if they're just going to hate on their comments? Like, that drives me crazy. Why do you follow him if you don't believe in his beliefs, right? So they did the big video about it, and everyone's like, oh, is it because of the polygamy? Is it because of your situation? And he said, actually, we broke up after 2 years. He said what kept us together for 7 years was the polygamy, was the open relationship. Because he said otherwise we would have not been together that long.
Rach, I don't want no one else sticking their dick in my woman. It's not happening. I'm not interested in it. I don't want to see it. I don't want to know about it.
I don't know. Because my ex and I talked a lot about that, because he was fascinated with the idea. Because he was in a sexless marriage for so long, and he's like, just like this sheltered guy from Utah. I think he had like 2 relationships in his whole life. So he was so sheltered. So he said before me, he thought women didn't like to have sex. He said, I thought women just didn't enjoy sex. Because I was like, let's go, like 3 times a day. And he was like, what? Like, you like sex? And he was so sheltered. So when I told him about my friend and his wife, and he's like, he would talk about it a lot. And he was like, I don't know if I could do that. I think I could do it. Like, the more we talked about it and the longer we were together, I was kind of like, you know what? Because he was so honest. I think that was what I liked about him. He was so against cheating. Like, just very open about it. I think I would have been okay. Like, it depends on the girl. I think. Okay. Like, if it was someone I knew, I think I understand why my friend likes to hook his wife up with his friends, because he's like, my friend is so good looking. I would hook up with him if I was a girl. Yeah, because... So
if you were in love with a guy and it was your husband, you'd be okay with having an open relationship?
Not right away, but I think, like, going back to the 7-year age, I think if it's like 7 years in and you're kind of comfortable... Because we talked about, when we were close to like the 4-year mark. I mean, I still loved sleeping with him, but I sort of got, because he always wanted a threesome. That was his big thing. And my thing was, I have to pick the girl.
Right.
Because I had a friend who was open to it that I was like, no, you're not fucking her. Just, I don't know. There was something about her that I didn't like. She was kind of a little competitive with me, I felt like, and I didn't like that. But I had another friend who did really like him, and she was super loyal to me, and she was a really good friend, and I was like, you know what, I would let that happen. Because I know she's not going to try to pull anything shady, like be texting you on the side. Like, she's a good friend. And also I have to be into the girl too if it's a threesome.
Yeah, of course. But also to me, if I'm married to someone and in 7 to 10 years, I don't care. I think I don't mind, because I don't want her anymore. I don't think it's about... Not necessarily. I do, but not necessarily. So this is what I'm saying. I'll be okay with still having sex with her, but I also don't mind if someone else is having sex with her, because we're at that stage in our relationship. See, I can see myself being okay with it in 7 to 10 years.
Right.
But I know myself, and I know by that time, I don't care anyway. So then to me, what does it matter?
Because you're like a monogamous, right? I think you just want one partner. Aquariuses generally want one partner, and that's it. Yeah. Like, if you're committed, you're committed. You're committed.
With someone else at this point, and we're still together.
But not everyone is like that. I think some people, that's the only way that they can, I think, truly be with someone. So we can get married, and then a month later, 6 months later, we could have an open relationship. Not 6 months. I would give it like a few years, once you're comfortable even approaching that subject.
Again, to me, what I'm thinking is on this subject, and I don't know, I'm just thinking this as we're talking about it. Even after you wait a few years, to me, because men get bored with sex pretty easily.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking that these guys we're talking about, and I don't know much about this subject because I've never been one to be open about this, as you guys can see. I'm thinking that these guys in 3 years are probably just at the point to where they're just like, oh, I've had it every which way all over the house. the same thing? You kind of get bored the same thing
No,
anyway?
so my friend who's in the open marriage actually says the opposite. He says his wife, and he goes, my wife and I, our sex life is through the roof right now. Because when they hook up with other people, it actually increases their sex life. Probably because you learn things from other people and you're so turned on all the time. And going back to the fantasy stuff, right? It's like maybe you're screwing your wife, but you're thinking about something else that maybe just happened that's turning you on. Oh yeah, he said when they hook up with other people, it's through the roof.
But someone else is dipping in your sauce, though.
That's okay. But you know what?
It's okay.
But you know what? I feel like, I don't know, like no one owns anyone.
I know, but,
you know,
but still.
Because I've had like friends who got mad that I was friends with their exes, and it's like I'm just friends with him. I'm not interested in him. We're not doing anything. Right. But it's like no one owns anyone. So right. I feel like anyone is, if you're open about it, I think anyone is free to do anything as long as you're honest and you're open about it, But the thing is, the reason I say a few years in is because when you first get with somebody, that's when like you're like territorial of them. You're like, I love this person. I'm so into this person. I want to be with them all the time. But as years go by, you can still love them and you can still want to sleep with them. But like, there's not so much of that, like, I'm obsessed with you, I'm territorial, I don't want any other girl looking at you.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
By that time, you don't care anymore. That goes back to my point.
It's not caring. I think it's just being more open. I think when we first talked about it, I would have been like, hell no, I don't want any woman touching you. But after a few years and seeing that it actually has worked for some other people, and I think it's more like, because I think I've been with more people than he was, but it was more like, I kind of wanted him to experience more of life because he really hadn't. He had had a girlfriend in college and then got married right out of college. And so I sort of felt bad for him because I had all the sexual experience and he didn't.
So what changes then? You know how you said at first you're like, oh, you're so, all about that person. So what changes to make you go, okay, I'm okay if you sleep with someone else?
I think you're just more comfortable. It's not like they're going to leave me for somebody else. Because at first there's that fear of like, oh God, I'm going to lose them. They're going to leave me. But after years and years, you're committed, you're comfortable. Then I'm okay with it. Because if I know you and I know you're honest and you're not a cheater and you're monogamous and you're wholesome, then I trust you. And I trust that that's not going to interfere with the relationship.
Because for me, I think that if I'm married to someone and it's she and I think years later, I would be okay with it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But I know the reasons why I would be okay with it.
Because you're bored.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I want her to go experience other stuff. And I want David to experience other stuff. And we still can have sex, but I'm like, we've done everything.
Yeah.
So.
For me, I actually wasn't bored. It was I'm more of a selfless person. Like, I want the other person to be happy. I think for him, I don't want to say he was bored, but he did want to like mix it up and role play and have threesomes and stuff like that. Just because, not that he wasn't satisfied with me, but because he never got to do it. He was a little sheltered. So I wanted that for him. I wanted, because I've had a lot of experience and like he really didn't.
Right. And to me, that's different as well. But I know when it comes to that, men, you can comment, men, when it comes to that, tend to be typically very territorial. I haven't met a lot of men that's okay with that.
Well, here's the thing. So this is what happened. We took a break a few years in because he just he wasn't committing. We were sort of in that place where he'd kind of been burned by his last marriage, didn't know if he wanted to do that again. So I said, okay, and he had talked about the open relationship thing a lot. I think he wanted to do it. I think when I did it, he went cuckoo. So I said, let's take a break. I went to Europe for a summer. And I said, okay, you can do whatever you want while I go away. You can date girls. You can have sex with girls.
So you gave him a hall pass?
Gave him a hall pass. I said, you can do whatever you want to do. This was the trip that I went on the Tinder date with the psycho guy.
Right.
So I also had a guy from LA who came out for a week who was gorgeous. I mean, like I couldn't even paint a prettier man than him. He was beautiful. So we slept together that week. He stayed with me. I was house sitting. And so I got back and I said to my ex, I go, okay, where are we at? Like, did you go out with any girls? And he was like, yeah, I took a girl out to coffee. I'm like, did you sleep with anyone? He's like, no. I was like, okay, well, I slept with somebody else. And to be a shit, because he just wasn't committing. I had put pictures of this guy and I online on Facebook, and he deleted me on Facebook immediately. This guy is beautiful. I was like, hey, figure it out. Do you want me or not?
That's so funny.
Imani.
Oh, that bruised the guy ego.
Oh, Imani. He had never cried throughout our whole relationship. He was like a rock, no emotion. He was like, I don't even know what to say right now. I'm so hurt you or somebody else. And he goes, I know it's my fault. Like, I wasn't committing and this and that. And I said, listen, I need you to figure out what you want. Call me when you're ready to talk. He called me the next night and hysterically cried for like 2 hours. He was like, like that cry when you're like,
oh, can't even breathe.
Can't even breathe. Because I was with somebody else. And all of a sudden, he was like, I do want to get remarried and I do want this and that. But I felt like it was kind of too late, to be honest. And I felt like he only wanted it because I was with somebody else. And it was like a territorial thing. He just wanted me back.
Let me tell you something. The worst thing, a guy's worst nightmare is walking in on his girl being fucked by someone else.
Right.
I have a best friend of mine lives in London that happened to. And he told me, he said, man, that's the worst thing you'll ever see in your entire life.
Oh, yeah.
He said that was so traumatic.
Yeah.
The way he explained that to me, that's what I'm saying. So men are and like the woman he's married to now, I know he'd never allow that.
Yeah.
And they've been together for, decade, like over a decade now.
Yeah. So I think he wanted that for him to experience other women, but as soon as I did it, he went bonkers.
See?
Yeah.
Because we don't want to imagine another man doing that with our woman.
Right. Or my friend who gets off on it,
Unless we don't care anymore.
No, my friend loves his wife to death, but it actually turns him on. It's weird. Everybody's different.
I know, that's true. There are some people that has this weird thing.
Yeah.
That they're okay. And I've heard of it and I've seen it.
Yeah.
And I've done it. I've had a guy watch me fuck his wife. So I'm not trying to be a hypocrite. I've done it.
Yeah.
But I don't fathom it.
Right.
I couldn't be the guy watching someone else fuck my wife. You know what I'm saying? But
Oh, yeah, because he watches it on a camera,
I'm saying the guy was in the room.
Oh, yeah. Well, he doesn't watch it like in person, but no, actually, yes. They're going to do like a foursome, or they might have already.
Right.
He met a girl in LA, and I think she met somebody else on that app. So he goes, the four of us are going to go away together and like switch partners. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
See?
Yeah, he's into it. Like swingers.
That's what I'm saying. And and it goes into swinging and stuff like that. The same thing, right? Open marriage is swinging. I just don't. I'd love to talk to a man that's okay with that. I'd really like
when
to
he's
break
in,
down,
when he's in town, I'll have him on.
I really want to break down his psyche. Like, if you love this woman and cherish this woman, how are you okay with someone else being physically engaged with her?
Yeah, I'll see if he will. I don't know if he will because he's a filmmaker. He's kind of publicized. Because he lives in a very small town in like kind of near like Sonoma County, like near wine country up north, and his hometown doesn't know about the agreement because I went to his wife's birthday party and his side girlfriend was there. It's very like incestuous.
Yeah.
Like she's friends with the girls. He sleeps with all that. But
he's lucky.
Yeah, but he says like people in our town don't know about our deal,
Yeah,
so we had to keep it DL.
But
I'd love to have him on
if
so
close-minded, but it's like, and some people say, well, Imani, your definition of love may be different. I just don't see how you could be in love or love someone and be okay with someone else being physically engaged with her.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm not saying that what I'm saying is right.
Oh, no, he loves his wife to death, and they have two kids now, and
I
it's
just
like...
don't understand it is what I'm saying.
Right.
I just don't
because you're a monogamous person, but some people are not monogamous by nature.
Right, and they don't care, and they still could love and allow that, and they don't look at it as... That's a big deal. Yeah, he can. I want to watch. He can fuck her. I don't mind.
I know. I think the only way some people can be happy if they're not monogamous by nature is to have open relationships.
Yeah.
And you have to be. I
really want to talk to them. I want to get inside their mind because I want to understand that.
Yeah, because you have to be.
How do you do that?
You have to be okay with your partner also being with other people if you want to be with other people.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I want to find out what that's about. Like, where does that come from? Because I just don't get it. I don't understand it.
I don't know.
You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't fathom that. And like I said, none of the guys that I know that I can think of in my immediate surrounding is okay with that. None of my guy friends. No guy friend that I've ever even known is okay with that.
Maybe it comes
Not
from
one.
like wanting what you can't have. Like when you see them with somebody else, it's I don't know.
So the situation I was with that happened, right? Mm-hmm. The guy's in the corner jacking off and shit, and he had a small ass dick.
You went to what, a swingers thing?
No, this was just like out one night.
Okay.
Ended up with these couples, and I don't know what I was getting into. I actually just fell into it.
Okay.
I ended up having to fuck this girl and her
Oh, it was like an orgy party?
No, it was just us, and I'm thinking, you know, me and the girl is just gonna have sex over here, and her and her husband gonna have sex over there.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Oh no, you're gonna fuck us. He's just gonna watch." And I was like, "What?"
Oh yeah.
It was like that.
Yeah.
And he's in the corner jacking off. And I'm like, damn, he has a small ass dick. and I always say like, people always say like, people always say, well, how do you know? I said, listen, I've never had a bunch of dicks in a lineup and compared. Oh, I'm okay. Yeah, I've never done that before.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but in that situation, I saw this guy's dick.
Yeah.
And I'm like, he has a small ass dick. And the first thing I thought of is, well, no wonder he wants me to bang shit out of his wife.
Right.
Because he probably can't do the same thing.
Yeah.
And he was getting off on me getting his wife off.
Oh.
You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? It was just weird. And
everyone's different.
Everyone's different. And they told me, oh no, it's always been like this since we've been married.
Yeah.
And she's wearing her wedding ring. I'm banging the shit out of her. Her husband's in the corner jacking off.
It's funny.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
Yes, Scott. So my friend, his
open marriages, guy.
Yeah, it's fun times. My friend's 40th birthday, we all went out. His wife arranged this whole thing where we went out, and then they rented a house in the Hollywood Hills. So after, we went to this bar downtown, and then afterwards they were like, Rach, come back to the house. We're all going.
Did you get caught up in one, Rach?
Kind of, yeah. I didn't know.
Spill the beans.
I didn't know.
I told you mine.
I didn't know. I thought we were just going to hang out, like after party. Because
that's what I thought.
It was a bunch of people, and I should have known because I didn't know they all took ecstasy. So we're all at this restaurant, and his friend, who was very handsome, is holding hands with two different girls, and I'm like, who's this guy think he is holding hands with two different girls? Who are you here with, buddy? So they're like, come back to the house. So we go back to the house, and I'm talking to this girl, and I go, where'd everybody go? And she's like, oh, they're probably all in the other room naked. And I went, oh shit. It's one of those parties. How did I not?
You're like, I'm here already.
And the thing is, I'm in the hills.
Well.
Yes. And also, I'm in the hills with no cell reception, so I can't even call an Uber and get out of there. So I was like, I committed to this. Fuck it. I'm like, where's the ecstasy?
And you're like, fuck it.
But then I took
chairs in a bucket. Fuck it.
Oh my God. But then
all in.
Yes. But then I took too much. And I was like, oh boy. Oh, guys.
You all touchy-feely.
I made out with a girl.
Wow.
I made out with my friend who's in the open marriage. I made out with his really hot friend. Some guy I don't even know. Right. It was very PG-13 orgy.
Okay.
It was sort of like everybody was topless in like underwear, right? So I think one guy was walking around with his dick out, but his wife was hooking up with some girl. We're all in a bed. It was like they called it a cuddle puddle.
A cuddle puddle.
Yeah, cuddle puddle. It's a thing. It's a thing.
I heard of the cuddle puddle.
Yeah, it's a cuddle puddle. It was very PG-13.
Oh my God, you learn so much on these podcasts. I swear to God.
Yeah, it was very PG-13.
Cuddle.
We just all kind of like made out with each other, and there was good music. But then it was funny at the end. Everybody goes to their respective rooms with the person who they came with, and you just hear everybody having sex. My poor friend, his wife was pregnant, so she had gone to bed. So he and I were like making out, but like I just don't want to sleep with him, He's just my friend, and he was like trying so hard. I'm like, no, we'll just make out. He's okay with that, but
that's crazy.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah, so I have a famous story like that. I mean, just courtesy of being in the entertainment industry, right? Same thing.
Yeah.
And ecstasy, I wasn't on it. Everyone else was on it.
Oh.
And I was with a very, very famous girl that we all know that I can't name. And, it started in Hollywood. And I'm finger fucking her in the back of the van.
Okay.
And we go all the way to this basketball player's house that everyone knows. We end up in a bathroom at this basketball player's house. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Same thing. So I was surprised. She was like, no, I want to go in the bathroom with you. I'm like, you sure? She's like, of course. She was on ecstasy. When you're on X, you're all touchy-feely.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? I didn't know that.
That's why I love it. It's my love language.
Yeah.
Like, everybody touch me in the cuddle puddle of my
when
dream.
You're on ecstasy, man. I was like, oh, shit. So we end up in Derek Fish. Oh, I don't want to say this. We end up in his bathroom. Sorry.
Nothing.
Oh, shit. We end up in this basketball player's bathroom. And from there, we go to this really famous rapper's house. This really famous actress that everyone knows jumps the gate. I can't name none of these people. She jumps the gate and opens the thing because they couldn't hear us for some reason. So we end up in this very famous rapper's house. They're all in the room on X, naked, same thing. I already done my things. I wasn't really tripping. I was like, I'm out on X. I'll have some drinks. Y'all do y'all thing.
I should have just taken it, jumped in.
I know, I thought about it.
Dive into the pool.
Drop into the cuddle puddle.
Yeah, you got it. You got it.
But I didn't though. But I had a really good time, and it was interesting to me just to see this happen. Yeah. You know what I mean?
It's weird if you're not on it.
And for me, it was early in my film career, so I just got my first big deal and had just started hanging out with all these famous people. And it just kind of tripped me out. That was my first time like seeing it on that level when people are on X and they get naked and fingering themselves.
That's what I mean. Like, it's weird if you're not on it. I was like, I got to get on their level. So I ate too much to try to like, because that shit takes like 2 hours to kick in.
Oh, okay.
So I was like,
had I taken some, I probably would have had more fun. Because when we got to the famous rapper's house, there were more girls there, like all in the pool and people, but then there was then they had the cuddle puddle in this one room that I know what it's called, and I didn't want to go in the room, and I was like, no.
If you took X, you would have dived into that pool.
This chick was trying to get me to come in the room with her, and I was like, no, you go ahead, I'm good. I'll just do the drinks out here. You know what I'm saying? And so, but you could like peek and like the little thing. It was a cuddle puddle going on for sure.
I know some guy was like, do you mind if I touch you? And I was like, go for it, man. It's fine.
It's
all good.
Whatever.
Do your thing.
Yeah, similar situation though. It's crazy.
Yeah, I didn't give a shit.
Yeah, man.
I got a good celebrity story, but I'll save that for another episode. I'll save it for a dating tale.
Okay, cool.
It's a good one.
Yeah, but that shit is, man, I don't know. All y'all out there, do me a favor and get one of these people on the show that's okay with this. I really want to get inside the mind.
I'll see. I mean, he's the only one I know that's into it. I'll see if
someone will bite.
I'll see if. Well, no, he would be great. I'll see if he'll come on because he comes to LA a lot.
Okay.
We just might not be able to say his like last name or something, but.
Right.
I'll see if he'll come on. Yeah.
Yeah, man, because I want to get inside the mind of that.
Oh yeah.
Because I
it's
can't
interesting
do it.
stuff.
You want to know what's funny? I can't even. Let me tell you how extreme I am before we close out. Just let me tell you how extreme I am. Just so you understand my crazy mind. I can't even be with someone who I know have been with a bunch of people. I'm that extreme with it.
Yeah.
Like how Kanye and Kim, I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
All the people I know Kim has been with, I couldn't be with her.
Yeah.
Just on that alone, I couldn't be with her.
Damaged goods, yeah.
See what I'm saying? I'm extreme.
Because you're a serial monogamous, and that's it. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
Rach, I can't do it.
But it's okay. It's who you are.
Just because of that, I can't be with Kim. I'm like, no, absolutely not.
Yeah.
No, it's this one. Kill the battery went out. I can't do it. So to go as far as I'm bothered by knowing the exes. So even. Like consciously knowing someone? Hell no.
Yeah. That actually doesn't bother me.
Yeah, I'm bothered by knowing the exes.
No.
And in my industry, we end up knowing everybody.
I'm like, they're no threat to me.
Yeah, and I don't even look at it as a threat. I guess it's a sign that the show is over.
All right, we're wrapping up.
The lights are literally starting to go out. Y'all been shooting too long, Imani. For all our listeners on the podcast, y'all can't see it on YouTube. You guys can see the lights are like shutting down. Like y'all motherfuckers been talking too long.
It's a good one. It's a good one.
You know what I'm saying? Oh my God, man.
Yeah,
I don't know, Rach. This is a tough episode. I just can't do it. I can't fathom it.
We'll
you know what I'm saying?
We'll get a different perspective.
One more thing I'm gonna say, and even 7 to 10 years later, I'm not sure if I'm okay if we're still, because for me, because here, and this is why I say it, I'm going to close out after this. Mm-hmm. If I'm still with you 7 to 10 years, that probably means I'm still into you. I'm going to tell you, if I'm done, I'm not going to be with you anyway.
Right.
So for me, 7 to 10 years later, I'm probably done anyway. Mm-hmm. So I don't even think I could do it then, Rach, now that I think about it.
It's okay. You're monogamous. It's all right. Own it.
Yeah. I'll own it.
I mean, that's most people.
Let's get one of
I told my mom about this. She's like, that's just wrong. You know, because she's so traditional.
Exactly.
I said, Mom, it's not wrong. It's just different. You know, everybody has different needs.
I want no other sausage in my vagina.
Right. I get it. I get it. I get it.
I can't do it. I can't have it. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm
not as opposed to it as you are. Like, it's not ideal, but
that's for me, and no.
I think it was more for him. Like, he didn't have experience, so to give him a little experience.
Yeah.
I'm open. I'm kind of a hippie. I'm like a free love, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Not me.
Anyway, guys, we're gonna close out, man. It's the sexiest podcast in the galaxy. That's what I said last time. We expose the truth and broadcast the lies.
Yeah, a lot of truth today.
Yeah, sometimes it gets a little like, you know what I mean? Like today, what else am I going to say? Don't forget to subscribe.
We're going to have some special guests coming up to talk about astrology, maybe open relationships.
Definitely. It's relationships, romance, and propaganda. And thanks for checking in. We'll see you guys next time. Wow. Yeah. And I'm not sharing. It's not about saying that.
Sharing is caring.
No, it's not.